Hey everyone, this is Paul Gale from paulgalenetwork.com, and thank you for joining me today for video game news. It is March 8th, 2022, and today's big video game news story is the PlayStation State of Play that was just announced on Twitter by Sony that's coming to us tomorrow. Let me read to you the official tweet from PlayStation on their Twitter page. State of Play returns this Wednesday, March 9th. Tune in at 2 p.m. Pacific time for about 20 minutes of PS4 and PS5 first looks and updates with a special focus on games coming from our Japan publishers. This has me hyped. The year has already been awesome so far from all different angles. We've got acquisitions left and right. We've got the Steam Deck that dropped. We had a Nintendo Direct earlier in the year. We had Pokemon Legends Arceus drop, Horizon Forbidden West come out, Elden Ring come out, Triangle Strategy come out. We had a Pokemon Presents with the announcement of Pokemon Violet and Pokemon Scarlet coming out later this year. And here we have a State of Play. Like, the year just keeps on giving. And I'm really curious what Sony's going to show off tomorrow. And specifically, what are these games that are going to be shown off from their Japanese publisher partners, right? I think the safe bet is Capcom presence, because Capcom has a lot of titles, a good relationship with Sony, and based off of the PS4 generation, an increasingly good relationship with them, with the likes of Street Fighter V and exclusivity to the PlayStation 4. Since Street Fighter 6 was recently shown off, pretty awesome too, right? I wouldn't be surprised if it is indeed a PS5 title. Not necessarily exclusive this time around, but could it be shown off tomorrow to further solidify that bond between Capcom and Sony and say that, hey, Capcom didn't say to what consoles it's coming out yet. We know that Capcom is going to dive deeper into Street Fighter 6 this summer. But what if it was confirmed tomorrow that, yeah, one of the platforms it's coming out on is going to be indeed PlayStation 5? Wouldn't it be crazy if it was announced as an exclusive? Personally, I think that would be a mistake. I think that Street Fighter 6 should be on as many platforms as it can. PlayStation 5, Xbox Series, Nintendo Switch, Steam Deck, PC in general. That's what I would like to see. But could we see something of it tomorrow? Maybe, but I'm going to go with a less than 50% chance on Street Fighter 6. That's just my personal hope, because I want to see more of Street Fighter 6 in any capacity, right? That's one of my favorite franchises. Give me more Capcom. A new Resident Evil dropping tomorrow. Resident Evil 4 remake. Could you imagine? That would be a huge one. Anything Mega Man related? That would be cool. A new Monster Hunter of some sort? That's possible. Monster Hunter World was a giant success on PlayStation 4, PC, and Xbox One, but specifically PS4 version leading the way in those regards. Then we got Monster Hunter Rise, which was a tremendous success once again for Capcom. That was an exclusive for Nintendo Switch for a long time before eventually being ported to PC. So Monster Hunter, I think, has maybe a better chance at something new coming tomorrow than Street Fighter. I think Resident Evil is above 50% chance. New Devil May Cry is above 50. Mega Man probably below 50. Monster Hunter above 50. So, of those several IP, I think that something might come from Capcom. Konami is another one of those old school companies that I like a lot, but definitely does not operate the same way these days as it did in previous generations. Everything from like the NES to Super NES, PlayStation, PlayStation 2 era, PS3 and Xbox 360 for that matter. That was a different Konami than what we have nowadays. But I never rule them out completely, especially now since we have rumors coming around this way and that way from different walks of the video game industry that are saying that Sony either purchased an IP from Konami's rich stable or is basically securing the rights to have one exclusive entry of a Konami title on PS5. Think how Nintendo got Bayonetta 2 exclusively for Wii U and then Nintendo Switch, and Bayonetta 3 exclusively for Nintendo Switch. Nintendo doesn't own Bayonetta. So it could be something similar in this case where Sony paid Konami a significant amount of money saying, hey, we would like the next Metal Gear to be on PS5. We're going to actually pay you for it and make it ourselves. You still own it. Here's the rights. You still got it. But this game will be a PS5 exclusive, forever, only re-released on PlayStation systems. And there you go. Or, hey, are you doing anything with Silent Hill? No? We want to actually buy, full-on acquire Silent Hill, the name, the brand, the marketing, the full rights to have it forever. It will no longer be a Konami IP. It will now be a PlayStation Studios IP. And we get a new Silent Hill out of this. A couple of different things could happen, Gosh, either one of those would be big. A Silent Hill game, something new for PS5 shown off. Metal Gear Solid, huge. Contra would be cool, but I don't think it's the most likely. Castlevania. A new Castlevania is something that I would be extremely hyped over. If it was handled in a similar way as Metroid Dread was, but of course this would be even higher level visual fidelity, greater story, still that Metroidvania kind of experience, cinematics, rich RPG elements thrown onto it. Like, that sounds like a terrific game. Some dual sense triggers for the whip. Oh, that's pretty cool. Ground rumbling as the castle's shaking and stuff like that, feeling that throughout the controller. Yeah, I would be down for a new Castlevania. But something from Konami, I think, is going to show up tomorrow, and that has me pretty hyped. Square Enix, that side of things, we could see something from them, because we have Final Fantasy 16. That's on the horizon and has not been shown off in a while, so perhaps it will be there. Forspoken, on the other hand, it was announced that it's getting a 5-month delay. They want to ensure that this is a new IP that's strong, that's well received from the get-go. So instead of coming out in May, it's going to now come out in October. I think that the 5-month delay that it's getting is going to be for the best. I'm not upset by it, October 11th isn't too far away. We have a lot of games coming out this year anyways, so for Forspoken to come out in October, that gives it a little bit more breathing room from the likes of Horizon Forbidden West and Elden Ring, specifically the latter taking up so much attention in the video game industry right now that unless if you're a very different type of game like Kirby and the Forgotten Land that's launching at the end of March, then if you're somewhere in the realm of comparison to Elden Ring, not to say that Forspoken is the same type of game, but like I said, closer in comparison than Kirby, and you're not an established IP like Kirby is, Forspoken isn't, you don't want to get, overshadowed by Elden Ring, right? So, yeah, go ahead, make this game tight. Could it show up in some capacity? Maybe. Final Fantasy 16, like I said, maybe. We've got new Dragon Quest on the way. We've got Dragon Quest Remake on the way. We also have Final Fantasy 7 Remake Part 2, which, personally, I would love to see that tomorrow. I thought that Final Fantasy 7 Remake on PlayStation 4 was terrific. It looked wonderful, and it was a great game, in my opinion. So fun. Loved it. One of my top games on the PS4, and in the year that it dropped in 2020. Great stuff. Seeing how much better it could look on PS5, especially if they really take their time with it, has me just salivating. I really want that one. I don't think we're going to get all of that stuff. I don't think from any of these companies we're going to get everything, but something from Capcom, something from Konami, something from Square Enix, one of those games that I mentioned, would be pretty cool. The rest is really up in the air because when you look at Japanese publishers, there really is so much. You could dive into Bandai Namco territory and you could say, all right, what about a new Dragon Ball game? What about a new Soul Calibur? What about a new Tekken? You know, I'm not going to further speculate and make this whole news story about speculation, but I thought I would drop some potentials. Now, that's not to say that it's only going to be from Japan publishers. Maybe something internally we get. We haven't seen Spider-Man 2 yet in terms of actual gameplay. Could we see it? Oh, now we're getting into like extra hype territory because unlike the other games that are just completely speculative based, right? Like, a new Resident Evil, a new Monster Hunter, new Castlevania, this acquisition of some Konami IP, we actually know of a couple of these other games, like Spider-Man 2. If that was shown off tomorrow with actual gameplay footage, I would be through the roof. Wolverine, probably not too likely, but once again, I would be through the roof hyped if that was shown off. So I'm pretty pumped up, Gran Turismo 7 just came out. God of War Ragnarok is on the way. We've already seen, a fair amount of footage on that game. So, indies, possibly. I don't know. 20 minutes is a good amount of time. These state of plays go by pretty quickly, pretty smoothly. On the best case scenario, we get like these 45 to 1.5 minute trailers, and we have over a dozen games that get shown off, and a couple of surprises, right? On the lower end side of things, you still get 20 minutes. One game ends up having a little bit too much time that you're not particularly feeling, but it's still new content, it's still new games, and you probably still have one or two games that grab your attention, even though the rest is kind of right? But is still better than nothing because honestly, we live in a time, in an era where the video game industry is thriving, and if you're a fan of gaming overall, you always have something to look forward to. I keep harkening back to the day. Back in the day, you used to read my video game magazine that came in the mail once a month. That was my source of news. Early internet days, okay, you had some websites that provided information. Now in the days of social media leveled up, you've got stuff dropping all the time. So that's why these Nintendo Directs, Pokemon Presents, PlayStation State of Plays, these E3s, which E3s we've always had pretty much, but all of this stuff is so exciting. So even on a day where, one of these presentations doesn't really wow me, it's still pretty cool. It's still fun to watch. It's still neat to see the different games, and maybe something will surprise me. Maybe something that's kind of whatever in the beginning ends up being kind of cool in the end, But I'm pretty hyped. Let me know what you think is going to show up tomorrow. I will note there will be no updates on PlayStation VR 2 titles or hardware in this broadcast. So that is something that Sony did address. And yeah, what do you want to see most? What do you think is going to be there? What would wow you? Feel free to drop any comments, hopes, desires, questions, and let's have a fun conversation. Thank you for joining me today once again. This is PGN signing out. I hope you all have a good one, and here is to tomorrow's PlayStation State of Play. I will be live streaming, so for 2 p.m. California time, West Coast, I'll be on. So look forward to seeing you there maybe. All right, take it easy, everyone. Bye.